Hello, beautiful souls. Let's talk for a second about depression, anxiety. I think depression and anxiety are two sides of the same coin. And you ever wonder why depression and anxiety have increased so much? Not just here in the United States, but if you look at the data everywhere, and especially here, a place that we have so much resource, so many options, and yet we are so out of balance. We're going through, I believe, a great period of tremendous spiritual poverty that, of course, unfortunately is manifest also in form of poverty, and is a big issue here that we're seeing, especially these days. But I want to throw a question here. What if, yes, we can say depression, anxiety, it's high because of social media or economical situation, so much uncertainty. Yeah, there are many social things happening, but all those things we can say are external. But I'm here always to invite us to look what's happening internally, because the law is what's happening with us internally is manifested in the external. So we have created this world. We are responsible. This is not about blaming, but we are responsible. So we have to look what's happening inside. So the question that I want to throw out there is this. What if this tremendous increase of depression, anxiety, and so much respect if you're going through tough times right now, you're having mental health challenges. But what if this is just a way for us to wake up, to become aware spiritually? There's more and more neuroscience research coming up, showing us the connection between spiritual work, spiritual awareness, mystical experiences, or simply a practice of meditation or prayer. There's a direct relationship with mental health, emotional health. Dr. Lisa Miller, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and many other neuroscientists are working on this. And for many, many, many years, we had science measuring, studying the brain of monks, deep, long-time meditators, and have proved to us already that they're healthier, they're happier. So we have to ask the question, all this emotional or mental health crisis we can call, it is just an expression of a tremendous spiritual crisis. I think, yes, there's a mental health crisis, there's a health crisis, there's no doubt about that. But I think it's much bigger than that. I think we're going through spiritual crisis because it's how we start paying attention to things. I hope you pay attention and start asking some big questions. I've been doing a lot of reflection on this and kind of thinking, when did I start become spiritual aware? I think I was born spiritually aware because from the very beginning of my life, I struggle a lot. I struggle with anxiety. I had bouts of depression, but especially anxiety. I used to have boils in my body, which I believe were a full expression of my anxiety that wasn't tended for. And bouts of isolation, loneliness, which are symptoms of depression. So I asked myself, when did I start really waking up, being aware? I think I was born aware. That's why it was so hard for me to fit in. And about my 20s, mid-20s, I started asking one of the most important questions of my life, which was the question of, is this it? I was in my 20s, finishing college, watching all my friends following a formula. Like everybody was doing the same thing. Dating, getting married, getting a career started, having children. That wasn't the path for me. There's nothing wrong with that path, but that wasn't my path. And I had tremendous, I would say, sadness and grief, and because I felt different than everyone. And I know this is going to resonate with many of you, because I work with clients that have gone through the same thing. I work with a lot of people who are going through deep awakening the mystic within them, and they need guidance, so they come to me to help them, because it can be very disorienting. But I really have that big awareness in my 20s when I was asking those big questions. So my invitation here to you is this: if you're going through a lot of mental crisis, emotional crisis, physical crisis through illness or pain, financial crisis, whatever crisis you are, what if they are all truly a spiritual crisis? It's a door that is closing for you, or it's not opening because there is another door that's supposed to open for you. And I truly believe this. When I look back and I look at the doors that I was trying to force to open and I had to go a different route, something better always happened. So we learn how to trust better, we learn how to have faith, and it takes us a while because we forget those moments very easily and we go on and then happens again. So we're going to continue creating crisis to our unconscious mind. Of course, nobody's waking up and saying, I'm going to create a crisis. But our unconscious, which has tremendous energy and affects our energetic field, the energy is going to become matter and create situations for us for spiritual awareness and spiritual awakening. So take it or leave it, but I truly believe that every single crisis for us is a spiritual crisis, and what we are witnessing in the collective, of course, is a massive expression of us, because I'm the collective, you are the collective. So how can you do your part? Yes, do your part, whatever you feel called to. Go give food to the food banks. We're doing this here in Boulder. I'm going to be doing this week. I give money to the homeless. Whatever you're called to do, do the help in this material world, but do something that is even more important right now. Go deep inside and ask yourself some deep questions. Get curious. This is not about blame. This is not about guilting anything, especially yourself. But this is about, like, what is this pain showing me? Just like in my last video that I described that pain is a portal. It's the same thing here. Use the crisis that is happening in your life to ask bigger questions. Most people have the tendency, when crises are happening, they want to figure out, they want to fix, they want to change the outside. And I always say, doing that, yeah, if there's an emergency, take care of the emergency, of course. There's a water leak in your house, go fix that. And then see later if you want to kind of study the meaning of that, but fix the water leak first. But most people tend to try to change things externally. And the example, the metaphor I always use on this is, I imagine you sitting on the back of the theater and you're watching a movie and you don't like what you're seeing. You get angry, frustrated, sad, and then you get up, you go to the front of the theater and you try to change the screen. Well, we know well that wouldn't work, right? But that's what we all have done, and maybe you're doing this now, depending on the phase of evolution that you are. Try to fix the outside, try to fix the movie screen instead of going to the car, going to the projector, which, by the way, you are the projector. Change the script, change the story, change the narrative, change the energy, change everything, so what you start seeing in the screen is going to be different. So this is my invitation to you. Every crisis is a spiritual crisis. Ask some deep questions. What is this crisis trying to teach you? And more important too, You already know the answer. You already know. And if you're not stopping to listen to the answer, then ask another powerful question. Why am I resisting the truth? Why am I resisting the truth? You might know that you need to start reading some spiritual teachings. You already know that you might need to find a spiritual counselor, a spiritual director, a therapist who brings psychology and spirituality together, like I do with my clients, not as a therapist, but as a, you can call life coach, spiritual counselor. You know you need to stop eating a certain way. You know you need to start going to the gym, and yeah, you're not doing. Be curious, ask, why am I resisting the truth? Because that will create a crisis. The longer you resist the truth, the louder sometimes the crisis will get. And there'll be a point in this path, I promise, that you will no longer need suffering to become aware, because you're going to be aware and you're still going to experience pain. I experienced tremendous pain last year when my cat died. I'm going to experience pain when my dog passes. I'm going to lose people. It makes me sad when I see people suffering. So pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional, because once you wake to the spirit of who you are, to the truth of who you are, you will no longer need suffering in order to become aware and awaken. So start asking the big, big questions and let the answer come. A lot of times the answer won't come right away, but ask and it is given. It is. Much love to you. Mwah.